Hey everybody, this is Perch, and it's oh, there's a turn signal is on in the background there. Sorry about the background noise, folks. It's Thursday. It's been the first day of Emerald City Comic Con, and it's actually pretty late. It's almost midnight. So leaving the show venue or the general area, heading back home, and I've got a lot of thoughts in my mind. It was funny is right before I started recording here, I just took a quick kind of cursory look at mail, and there's a question there, and I get this question a lot, which is basically like, "Hey, Perch, do you have any advice for how to get into comics, how to succeed at comics, how to I like my passion is comics." Well, for a lot of people, the passion is comics. It's one of those areas where there's a bunch of nonsense that we all torture each other with around who loves comics, who doesn't love comics, who's in it for comics, who's killing comics, who's bad. There's just always this drama around comics, but the reality is there's a lot of people who are passionate about comics. And if you wander away from Twitter and you just like go to a comic convention, you see a bunch of people who are in cosplay, sitting on the floor in their weird little Lady Deadpool costumes or whatever it happens to be, Gwenpool costumes. No, whatever it happens to be. And there's clearly passion. There's a lot of people who love this thing. And I did a video a while ago. I don't remember when the video was done, but I think it posted up today or the day before. And it was basically I was theorizing that comic conventions were a dinosaur, that there were problems in the future. I still hold by that, by the way. I think the money is wrong for comic conventions. That's the problem with comic conventions, is not the passion, because all you have to do is go to one and you see people wandering around and clearly the passion is there. So it's not like a lack of interest. For a lot of people, being able to go to the Mecca and be able to immerse themselves in this culture is very exciting. They're going to keep doing it. But the money is the problem. I mean, eventually things have to turn a profit, or they have to have funding in order to survive. If they don't have funding, then it gets bad quick. And in many cases, it's one of those things that can fold in on itself, where the money just drops by, say, 30%, and the money dropping by 30% means that it becomes 30% crappier. They can't invest in the things they invested in before, so the experience gets a little worse. And because the experience gets a little worse, the people are not as attached to it. The passion drops a little bit, and when the passion drops a little bit, then they spend less money at the convention. And because they spend less money at the convention, this convention is further unprofitable. So then 30% more comes out of the convention. That's where it eats itself, and that's where I think conventions are headed. That's where I think there's problems, because I think the money doesn't work out. It's easier to do the basic things at the convention, and make money outside of it. And I think people will start to figure that out. That becomes a problem over time. But comic books are things that a lot of people are really into and they like. And so when you go on Twitter and you hear people like accusing each other of like, you're not as much into comics as I am, or whatever it happens to be, people are like battling back and forth, who loves comics more, me or this person, or whatever it happens to be. It's all kind of a pointless argument. I mean, it doesn't matter. None of it actually matters, because there's a lot of people who love comics. Comics is their life. And as long as that exists, as long as there's that interest there, then there's an opportunity. If you're able to capitalize on that opportunity is a completely different question, and it's a question people usually don't ask. It's a harder question, meaning if people are interested in things, cool. What do you do with that interest? How do you turn that interest into money? That's the challenge in comics. That's where a lot of these things come through. But the thing that the question I got, like I mentioned before, is how do I succeed at comics? How I love it, so how do I get to be a part of it? And first off, I just want to observe for a second. I find it weird that you're asking me. I guess I'm the one who's talking back to you. I'm the one who's giving you information. But don't you feel it's a little weird that you're asking me for this answer? Am I the best person to give you that answer? Probably not. There's probably better people who can give you an actual, who work every day 100% in the industry. You're asking this YouTuber, how do I make it? But all the same, I think I have good advice for you on how to make it in comics. I think I've got the advice you need. And here it is. You need to work hard. Now, you may say, it's flippant. That's not an answer. I need a better answer than that. Not really. I don't think you need a better answer than that. I think that is the answer. I think a lot of people like to overthink that answer. I don't think they want to hear that answer. I think that in many cases that answer sounds I don't know. Nobody wants to hear the answer of, to be successful, you need to work hard. But the reality is that is the answer for almost everything. By the way, this is a comics channel. We're talking about comics, but if your dream is to be a doctor, an educator, a lawyer, I don't know, whatever you're into, working hard is the solution. One of I think the great harms that has been done to at least American society, because if you go over to other countries, you'll find fairly quickly, not all countries, but many, that people haven't confused themselves around this topic. But there has been this idea that hard work is not necessarily the answer. One of my daughters had a teacher at one point who would tell her that just because you work hard doesn't mean you'll be successful. And that's true in the sense that, like right now, you listening to this, a satellite could fall out of orbit and land on your head and you'd be dead. That could happen. It's conceivable. The odds are very low. And if the odds are low, then why are you worrying about it? I mean, there's a difference between, hey, if I get into my car and I'm drunk, I may drive into another car and die. Okay, the odds of that are pretty high. If you've been drinking a lot, you don't really know where you are. The odds of a satellite falling on your head is pretty low. So why are you worrying about the satellite? You should worry about getting drunk and crashing your car. That's a bigger worry that you should have. But oftentimes when we talk about hard work and being successful, people focus on the very unlikely scenario as the one to really worry about. Like, well, if I really want to accomplish this dream, if I want to work in comics, but I don't know, I don't please Donnie Cates enough by fluffing him. I don't even know what I'm saying here right now. But I mean, just people, I hear things from time to time. Like I hear people say things like, I really want to be noticed by Donnie Cates. I don't know why Donnie, by the way. He's at the Emerald City Comic Con. I should go. He would not want to engage in this conversation with me. But a lot of people get very fixated on if Donnie Cates retweets or likes their tweets, and this becomes a driving part of their day. Like, is Donnie Cates retweeting me? If he retweets me, then my career is set. If he doesn't, I have to keep fighting. And I would tell you, what a waste of time. There's no value to any of that. Donnie Cates retweeting you is not indicative of your success. Hard work is. If you wake up every day and let's say you're a writer, you write a script. You write a script, you try and make a comic. That's what you do. Then, your odds of being successful are going to increase. If you don't write a script, your odds of success are going to drop. It's really that simple. I wish it wasn't that simple. I mean, I wish there was just magical Donnie Cates fairy dust that could, be sprinkled on things and then your life gets better, but it doesn't work that way. There's really no excuse. There's no antidote. There's no alternative to just waking up in the morning and working hard. If you're an artist, you need to practice your craft. If you draw pages and you draw more pages and you work hard, your odds of success are going to increase. If you don't do those things, you're likely to have a tough go of it. I, that's simple. Um, so when people say, how can I break into comics? How can I make it work? Hard work. It means pushing. And I think you need to ask yourself, and this is maybe this is turned into a dad perch kind of video. Um, what is it? Do you want to be a fan or do you want to profit from this industry? If you want to be a fan, then, rid yourself of all this concern about making it in comics. You don't need to make it. You just need to have enough money to buy comics and go to a convention every now and then and, dress up in cosplay or whatever you're going to do and enjoy it. Enjoy the ride. Because that's enough. You don't need more than that. You don't need to be part of the industry to enjoy it. I think that's one of the big myths that a lot of people face is that because you every now and then run into people that say, I really love comics and the only destination point for myself is somehow be in comics. And you have to ask yourself, is that really what you want? Maybe you can just like it, make me enjoy it. That's happiness. But if you want to be in comics, the answer is hard work. And granted, the thing that's going to screw you up is you're going to see people who get lucky because maybe they know the right editor or they worked in a comic shop with other people and they get lucky and they get a shortcut into a career in comics. But the thing is, the people with the shortcuts rarely make it. They don't. They don't last. Almost everyone who has a long career in comics is somebody who worked hard. A lot of you will sometimes send me mail asking about various people in comics who you feel cheated their way in. Basically, they didn't deserve it. They didn't. They got hired because of their skin color or their what kind of people they like to sleep with, whatever it happens to be, their demographics. And it's true. There's definitely people who get hired for those reasons. But again, it's short-lived. They don't tend to last. Look at all the people that have generated so much angst and anxiety over the last 10 years in comics. Not even 10 years, 6 years, 5 years. We like, that person doesn't deserve it. And then a big fight occurs. But if you fast forward the clock like 3 to 4 years, most of the time they're gone. They don't make it. What's the lesson there? I mean, the lesson is that no matter what happens, hard work is what wins the day in the end. And if you're not willing to put in the hard work, then it's going to be a tough road. That's it. So my advice is always what it always is. If you want to work in comics, work. Do the work. Do the pages. That's it. That's the only antidote. If you want to, meet people who could rep your book and get you work, you're going to have to hit the street. You're going to have to meet people. You're going to have to shake a lot of hands, and you're going to have to push, and you're going to get rejected a lot. And that's the way it works. And half the time, more than half the time, it's going to feel like shit because you're going to have lots of people around you that will succeed quickly. And you're going to wonder, when's my turn coming? And unless you work hard, the answer is never. Anyway, it's just some thoughts, some late night thoughts as close out Emerald City Comic Con. Lots of people out there with dreams, lots of people out there with passion. If you have any questions about if the comic industry is worth preserving, is worth saving, if it can be saved, if there's interest in it, if it's strong and will survive, Yeah, yeah, no shit. It's going to survive. It's obviously going to survive. Go to any convention, you get the answer to that real quick. Of course it's going to survive, but not for everybody. Thanks for listening.